Be sure and tell them Large Mars sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large March Santa's podcast. Hey.
Firing optic sensor.
What's wrong, Jack? What's wrong? Let me see. Let me see.
Come on, where the hell's the picture? Come on. All right, Oz. It's not Oz. Who the hell is that? Where's the lab technicians? Where's the lab?
It was just so strange. It was like someone had suddenly shoved a white-hot sewing needle through the pupil of my eye.
Oh, God.
You stand up now, Jack.
What is this? Did Bugs just stand up? What's going on here? This can't be. I'm in a man. I'm in a strange man. I'll be a son of a bitch. I'm in a strange man, surrounded by strangers in a strange room.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie.
And I'm Sweetie.
And we are in different locations.
So weird.
First time.
I don't know if I like this.
I know.
I can't see your face. It's very sad.
I know. I'm upset.
Just like heartbroken about it.
I'm just trying not to cry, but like. Just,
this is like really if hard. I like moved to Italy, this is what we'd have to do. I'm just like throwing.
Why are you moving to Italy?
I'm throwing a random like dream
God.
Location out there.
Well, quit it.
I know.
It's upsetting already.
I know. It's too much. I can't. This is kind of interesting too. We'll see how this works because we, I feel like play off each other's.
Yeah.
Might
be the shittiest episode of all time. You'll never know.
Well, it isn't because we did an awesome movie.
True. Yeah. So this episode, we're doing this in conjunction. Is that the term?
Yeah, sounds good.
In tandem? I don't know.
Tandem?
With our buddies, the Damage Control podcast, who have
guys.
also done this movie, and they put up their episode today, I believe. So we'll include their promo at the end of the show. You guys can check it out.
Sweet.
They're really great guys. They're really big fans of ours. We're fans of them, obviously. But
it's gonna be is this gonna be like a battle? Like,
no,
who's got the better podcast about this particular movie?
I don't think that's the right attitude.
Smackdown?
No. I think it's just about watching a great movie and having fun and getting, collaborating.
You're such a good
the
sport.
Word out. I'm a good sport.
Yeah.
We should both be good sports.
What's that award you get when you're like a really good sport?
Miss Congeniality?
No, that's like super nice. But like when you are like a kid and you play sports and it's like you just are like
sport award.
Yeah, but it's like not that. It's something
I
like
don't
that.
know. We didn't play sports. We don't know.
That's true. I don't know awards.
Sports are bullshit. Anyways, so ready? The movie was
Innerspace.
Sweetie's been asking to watch this movie for a while.
Fucking
She
love
loves
this
it.
movie.
And then it just by chance, Ryan Ferguson of the Damage Control podcast reached out and asked if we wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And so we did. So we had to wait until July, but it was worth it, I thought.
Yeah. So like a couple fun facts, first of all. This guy did not know this until I started looking at the trivia, is the guy who directed the Gremlins.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Joe Dante.
Also did The Burbs, Erie, Indiana. Like we're gonna eventually cover that. Yeah, I really like his movies. He kind of uses the same people. Like I'm surprised Marty Futterman or whatever that guy is not in this movie.
Marie Futterman.
Yeah,
and he's in like all of Joe Dante's movies as like that's like his signature actor he puts in everything. So it's just fun.
And
He's
then
kind of
it made me want to rewatch The Burbs because I haven't really seen a lot of that movie. And
I didn't think you had seen it
ever. I've seen it once, and I totally forgot that Carrie Fisher is in that movie. I know.
Yeah,
we have to do
amazing.
that one. I love the plot of that. It's like so fucking wacky. But yeah, he definitely does like sci-fi. I don't know. You wouldn't call him sci-fi, would you? Just like
he does like horror, sci-fi kind of like mashups usually. I mean, this is sci-fi, so
they're really interesting. So I was fascinated by this movie as a kid. I thought it was hilarious and really was my first start of like Martin Shortness.
Okay.
Hilarious.
All right.
And introduced me to my favorite singer of all time, Sam Cooke, who has songs throughout this movie.
I was going to ask you if your
this was it.
Started from
this. Okay. Was it. The Twist in the Night Away, I'm like, as a 5-year-old, I was like, what the fuck? Who sings the song? This is amazing.
Rod Stewart cover at the end. Fuck that.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of cool because it was just like, that's like so late 80s, like Rod Stewart. You like have to have him.
Whatever. Yeah. Just whatever. So 1987.
Mm-hmm.
So late 80s, starring, of course, Dennis Quaid.
Yep.
Who I refer to as the poor man's Harrison Ford. He just has that same like smug air about him, like such a dick, but kind of hot. You're breathing very heavily into the microphone, so just watch out for that.
What? There's like some weird thing that's on the bottom of my thing. Do you see that?
No.
On yours? I have these bars that keep going across. I don't know what that means.
Oh yeah, it's when you're talking. I don't know. Let's ignore that. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So poor man's Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I don't love Dennis Quaid. Me too.
I mean, hate's a strong word, but I just would prefer Harrison Ford, I guess. Whatever. Beggars can't be choosers.
A dick in this, and he like thinks he's the shit. I don't know. I have a little bit of problems with this character, but anyways,
yeah.
And then and then like we said, Martin Short, like gem and a half.
Yes.
And then like
Meg
Ryan.
Peak Meg Ryan.
Adorableness.
Yeah. Although, not a fan of the haircut.
Oh, God.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Though deceiving, because she's able to like put it in a French
twist. Oh, my God.
twist.
I have that exact note in my notebook.
God.
I said, the phenomena of a short hair looking like a nice long updo when it's in a twist.
How much gel do you have to use? That's all I
What? I'm always fooled every time. I'm like, her hair's so pretty. And then like the next morning, it's like after sex, like gross shortcut. And it looks like that throughout the whole movie. It's like her hair never fixed itself after her late night romp with Tuck.
Well, she was going through a breakup, so give her a break.
I guess their relationship still confuses me, but we'll get into it. Anyway, so I guess we will attempt a sweetie synopsis at this point.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little rough because parts of this movie still confuse me. And I wasn't paying attention at like the last part, so I missed something. So you might have to step in there.
Okay. Well, I'll be stepping in throughout. I'm not just going to let you drive the bus.
That's true. As usual. All right, let's...
Ozzy, like the scientist.
No. Okay. Oh, R.I.P. Ozzy.
Oh, my God. That's another note I have.
Why
did he have to die?
Wait, what's that from? Why did he have to die?
No, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about
Wayne's
that
World?
later.
Okay. All right,
it's time
ready?
for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
Let me tell you about a place.
No. Tuck Pendleton is a lieutenant in the Navy who flies planes in the Navy. Call it a Navy pilot, if you will. But what are they flying? Just so I'm clear.
Okay, so I find with this movie, there's so much that is not explained, like, at all, and you're just supposed to get it. There's no, like, backstory for anybody. So for the beginning scene, what are you supposed to get out of that? Like, what was that award, like, dinner for? Why was he so wasted? What was he upset about? Okay. I think lost.
He was upset because those other Navy pilots got chosen to do like some cool space mission or something.
So he was like the loser because he didn't follow rules.
I
and
think
stuff like
so,
that.
And because he's a drunk and an asshole. I mean, put
like,
it together.
Who is like the black guy Pete? Who like Pete? Is he? Remember like the one black guy in the movie?
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's two black guys because like the reporter friend, but and he gets like wicked drunk in the beginning, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know," he gives like
Right.
some speech or whatever, and then
Yeah,
he
what's
gets
his
into the
role?
fight with like who's Pete?
Who is Pete? We don't.
Yeah. And then
don't
did
ask us
Lydia
about
get
Pete.
to go as just like a guest to this
Yeah.
like banquet dinner thing?
Who happens to be a reporter, or maybe she went as
Right.
the press. I don't know. Anyways, so Tuck Pendleton is kind of a deadbeat asshole.
Hot mess.
Who's a hot mess, but he likes science, I guess. He's got like one of those robotic arms in his apartment, so it's like questionable. And he loves rabbits. Weird.
No,
anyways,
that was all for research for this the thing he ends up doing.
But he created that? He's not an inventor.
No, they gave him all that stuff to practice. Because then
true.
2 months later they actually like, so he had been like picked to do this experiment because no one, remember, they couldn't find anyone crazy enough to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it. Okay, so anyway, so he's disgraced. He goes home with his girlfriend, Lydia. They have a fight after they have sex, I guess. And then they kind of part ways.
Yeah, that was like a weird breakup. No, they like
I
had
know.
a fight before. She has sex with him because he like starts singing the Sam Cooke song, or he like puts it on the radio, and she's like, "Don't do this to me. I can't control myself around Sam Cooke." And it's that song, "Cupid, draw back your bow." Yeah, so I mean, amazing song. And so then they hook up, but then she writes some like breakup note and leaves in the morning. It's kind of shitty.
But he stops her, and there's a tussle in the cab, and he's naked on the street. I don't know. Anyways, so what is the time now? And then a thing comes up that says
2 months
how many
later,
weeks?
and
2
then
months.
Silicon Valley. So that
Jeez, I
that
thought it was like
initial
2
scene was in San Francisco, and then Silicon Valley
Right.
is like a little further away from there.
All right. So now we find Tuck Pendleton in a lab getting ready to do an experiment. And this is an experiment about, and I'm not going to be able to say this word at all, and we're going to have to say it a lot. So I'm just going to try. Miniaturization.
That's
Is
pretty
that
good.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Miniature.
It seems harder. It seems pretty
miniaturization?
hard. See?
Miniature.
It's a toughie.
Miniaturization. Miniaturization. I think that's right.
Miniaturization.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid. Anyways,
You're stupid.
so what they're doing is shrinking this little pod down that contains a human being and then injecting it in a syringe, and then they're going to take that syringe and inject it into a rabbit so that the guy in the little pod can like swim around in the rabbit and find scientific data or whatever.
Right. Like, was the point to be able to study the inside of the rabbit, or just to be able to shrink something?
Well, I think that, I mean, I'm assuming they already did they're able to shrink something experiment. So that's been done.
Right,
Now
'cause, like-
they're seeing if the pod can like survive in in a life form that they can get data out of. Because I think that in the future they want that to work for humans.
Like
Right?
surgeries, and like then you could have like surgeries from the inside out and stuff like
I
that.
don't- but then the bad people seemed like they were doing it for a totally diabolical reason, which is still unclear to me. But
Well,
anyways,
Right. And so the thing around this is that there's these like 2 chips, right? So there's like one chip that you get to shrink you, and then there's another chip inside the pod that you need to like for re-enlargement. And you need those like 2 chips,
need
right?
both,
So like
yep.
this company, like Valtrex or something, that's like a fake, that's a drug.
that's
or
a
something,
drug that's
isn't
for
that?
like erectile dysfunction or something.
Something like
I know,
that.
no,
It's
I
a
don't
V.
think it's for erectile dysfunction. It's for
So
ED,
they
if you
have
will.
have created this technology. So they have the chips. They're the only ones. And this guy, lead scientist, sweet little Aussie, looks like John Denver or somebody else with glasses and a mop top.
All right.
So they're like, they shrink them, they put them in the thing, right? And it's like this little syringe is waiting there. And all of a sudden, these like fake cable company or like phone repair people show up and go through the lab and basically are trying to steal the chip. So they gas everybody. It looks like they like are just putting fire extinguishers in their faces.
Airspray. Yeah, it does look like fire extinguishers.
And when
It's
I
probably
watched
what
this
it
when
was.
I was little, I thought they had like killed them all.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
scary.
They killed Ozzy, so why
Well-
wouldn't you think
Well,
that?
Mr. Igoe's fault. He went out of control. Ozzy didn't have to die.
I know. Such bullshit.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Okay.
um,
So they steal the syringe.
well, so Ozzy is like
No.
hiding
Right.
behind these cages and is able to, he doesn't get gassed. And he's like talking to the main other scientist of this other company who's trying to steal this technology. Has like a confrontation with her, and like he sees a syringe and he grabs it and like runs the fuck out of there. And Ozzy's like kind of badass for a dorky scientist. I mean, he could ride a bike like lightning.
When he jumps over the like, and Mr. Igoe's like chasing him, he like jumps over the fence and then like hangs there and then like jumps back up. Man, badass.
MVP Ozzy, like
yeah. So Ozzy runs for it. Mr. Igoe is this what did I call him? A cyborg. He's basically like the Terminator, like half human, or is the Terminator all robot? I don't know. I don't know the classification.
He just had a robot hand, but like basically. It
but
was
why?
psycho.
It was so weird.
Like
Anyway, so he's like crazy assassin and is like finding Ozzy so that he can get that syringe back. Meanwhile, local hypochondriac Jack Putter has been in to visit his doctor because he's to visit the travel agency because his doctor had told him that he needs to get away and like stop being a hypochondriac. So he needs to like relax, not have any stress.
Jay Putter.
So by coincidence, Ozzy has the syringe and he's already been shot at this point, right?
So
yeah, because he's like, I'm gonna die, so I need to get this syringe safely in someone else so that Tuck won't die.
Well, it was deceiving because Mr. Igoe like shoots with his like weird cyborg hands gun out of his finger, and it hits a balloon, and you think like, oh, good, like he just popped the balloon. But no, because then you see Ozzy like sweating to death in an elevator, and then suddenly his back.
So he shot him with like a dart.
I don't know. I think it was a bullet. Like a silencer,
why is he
kind of bullet.
sweating? Why wasn't there like blood?
There was blood all on the back of his jacket, remember? So first it's like a tiny little spot.
I don't know. I was too upset.
And then when he gets out of the elevator, it's like all over his jacket.
Okay. So anyway, the elevator opens. Who does he see but Jack Putter, who is Martin Short? And he's like, hey, and then just like stabs him in the butt with this syringe. And for some reason, so Jack Putter is super hypochondriac, right? But he does not seem that upset by the fact that a stranger just shot him in the butt with a needle. Who knows if that needle was clean? This was during the AIDS crisis, so let's get real here. But he doesn't seem that put off by it, which I'm still pretty stumped about. He's just like, ow, something hurt.
Yeah,
maybe he didn't know that he got shot. I don't know. That he got a shot in his butt, whatever. So anyway, so now Tuck is in a human being. He thinks he's in the rabbit because he thinks the experiment has gone according to plan. However, he quickly realizes that he's in a human because he can see things like things that humans have in their body that rabbits don't.
And he also like stands
not
up.
sure what that is.
And people are talking to him, so he realizes, remember, he's like, he stands up. He sees people first because what Tuck does.
He has to shoot the optic nerve in.
Yeah.
So he's like,
so he gets connected to the eye, so he's able to like shoot something into his eye, which really hurts Jack at first. And he's able to see out, and then he connects to his ear and like hooks a little microphone up there, so then he can talk to him.
Yeah.
Once he's able to like see through his eyes, he realizes that he's like, I'm in a man. But I was like,
strange man.
Maybe he could have been a woman.
True.
Nothing said he was in a man. He wasn't like in his junk or anything.
Wasn't that when he heard him talking? So he knew.
No, because he didn't have the audio yet.
Oh, well, whatever. Anyways, so Tuck starts talking to Jack, and Jack thinks he's gone crazy, which you should if there's a voice talking to you in your head that no one else can hear except you.
So good.
But soon he convinces him that he is a person in his body and that he needs to get to this lab so that they can save him or whatever. So, and then meanwhile, we're dealing with some kind of like bodily functions, Jack's heartbeat, et cetera, rising, stress, that kind of thing. We go to the lab, back to the lab, and the buddies there tell them, bad news, he only has enough oxygen for how long?
To last
a day?
to the next day.
Next day. So they need to get him out of there before then. Double bad news, these bad guys stole the other chip. So we can't get you back to normal size unless we have this other chip. Whoops. So now they have two jobs. Well, really one. They need to find those bad guys and get that second chip back so that they can get Tuck out in time before his oxygen depletes. However, Tuck tells him to... Now, why does he do this? He doesn't trust those guys?
Yeah, he doesn't
Isn't that his
trust
friend,
them,
though?
and I think he thought that
Pete?
they
Isn't that
maybe,
Pete?
like... Yeah. They were just going to use him as, like, bait to get flush out the other people to get that chip back, but didn't really care about the timeline.
What? Yes, they do if he's going to die. I don't know.
I don't think he thought, like, that they did or something. Like, it was more about, like, the
whatever.
technology or whatever, and he was, like, kind of like a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
So he tells Jack, like, my car keys are in the locker in the lab, like, get my coat, and, like, here's my car, and go find my girlfriend, or not ex-girlfriend,
Right.
Lydia.
So they find Lydia.
Yeah.
And they don't tell her
No,
that
right, which is
Tuck's
weird.
inside him.
And so they has Jack tell him that Tuck has been being held for ransom by this lab. So, like, there's some, like, truth to it, but, like, not really. And then Jack goes on, and then Lydia is sort of connected because she's a reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle or whatever, and has, like, tabs on this guy called the Cowboy who only comes into town to buy, like, medical technology or something.
Yeah.
So that's, like, connected in some way. So they're following the Cowboy, and because they know he's going to buy the chip. So if they follow the Cowboy, he'll lead them to the chip that they need to re-enlarge Tuck Pendleton.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yes. So they do, and they meet these bad people, which is a woman who, what's her name? Margaret?
Yeah.
Margaret, the
Doctor
oversexed woman villain.
Yeah.
And then the guy's name, which is Mr.
Swingarden with an S.
I don't know. That other guy, that older guy. And then the Cowboy. So, wait. So they meet the Cowboy. Lydia pretends to, like, come on to him. So they lure him back to the hotel. And then Tuck, they catch him and tie him up, the Cowboy, in the bathroom. And then they do this crazy face technology that morphs Jack Putter's face to look like the Cowboy's.
Yeah.
But he still has Jack Putter's hair.
Yeah.
So it's really funny. But super, obviously, stretching.
And
just
it's weird that they don't tell, like, Lydia what happened. Like, she's just supposed to go with it that his face has, like, morphed to look like the Cowboy. That was,
like
that's
at
when
this
I would
point,
tell somebody. I'd
just
come clean.
tell her that Tuck is inside his body. Like, it couldn't get any weirder, could it? I don't know. Anyways, so they go to meet the bad guys pretending to be the Cowboy with his girlfriend, Lydia. They almost get the chip, but then they start suspecting something's weird because the Cowboy's, like, gold tooth falls off because it's just, like, placed over Jack's tooth. So he's like, oh, the Cowboy doesn't feel pain. Let's try that out. So he, like, holds, like, a torch over his hand, and Jack freaks out and his heart rate goes up, which messes with the face thing. So then his face goes back to normal. So then they're like, Jack Putter. They're like, we were looking for you, because they knew that he was the one that got injected with the syringe, because they have somebody's camera in the mall where that all happened. So they've been actually looking for him this whole time, and now he's just conveniently within their grasp. So they pack them up, right? No.
Yeah, no. So they take him to the lab.
Oh, yeah.
And they put, like, Lydia in another room, and they inject. So their bright idea is to put Mr. Igoe in this, like, weird little, like, scuba contraption, and inject him into Jack Putter, and then they are going to basically kill Tuck Pendleton and his ship and take the chip and, like, pilot it out of Jack Putter's tear duct or something. So then
Seems like a lot of work.
And then they'll re-enlarge him, and then they'll have the chip and everything like that. So these people are, like, ruthless. They don't care, obviously, like, about anybody else. But then Lydia is able to... Oh, yeah, she's a taser in her bag. So she's being, like, kept in this side room, and this guy, like, looks through her purse and gets tased. So then she steals his gun and comes out and, like, forces everybody into the little shrinking pit. And unfortunately, Jack now has Mr. Igoe in him, though. So they leave, and then go back to the lab. So now, because they have both chips, because they have the one in Tuck's pod, and then this other one that they had stolen from the lab originally, right? But then
The bad guys?
Yeah, because the bad guys had that one chip.
Yeah. And then they get overpowered, and then they, Jack and Lydia put the bad guys in the the miniaturization chamber and shrink them down, but they don't know how to work it, so they only shrink them down by 50%. So they're like little midget dolls, like the size of dolls, right? Or midgets?
Well,
I'm unsure.
What is 50% of
They
a
look
person?
like puppets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, 2 feet tall.
Anyway, well, it's creepy, whatever it is. And so now they're like little. Meanwhile, Mr. Igoe is like he's fighting with Tuck, and there's this big tussle. And then Mr. Igoe eventually gets dropped into Jack's stomach acid and dies. So that problem's over. But Tuck's oxygen levels are now way down. So he's only got like, I don't know, 30 minutes.
like
I
a
forget
couple
the
minutes.
exact time frame. So they hightail it back to the lab. They need to get Tuck out. So Jack sneezes.
And
right?
he's sitting in Jack's lungs, and he's like,
He's
I don't
in his
have
lungs.
enough energy to pilot my way out, because I guess he could have piloted out through like a duct or something, like a tear duct or something. But like he's in Jack's lungs, and Jack, I need you to sneeze. Like, what can you sneeze? And in the beginning, you learn that like Jack is allergic to hairspray. So he's like, give me some hairspray, give me some hairspray. And I love this part. And this person
Luckily,
gives him
someone has
mousse.
some, because, I mean, how many people? I guess it was the 80s, so
It was, everyone
all
had.
women had a
But
hairspray
that
in their
part where like
purse.
some random person gives him the mousse, and he's like, not mousse,
Not moose.
like sprays everywhere. I love that.
So random.
So he sniffs the hairspray, and then he sneezes, and it sneezes on this guy's glasses. The guy's about to wipe off his glasses, like idiot. And this scientist is like, wait. No. Like,
Tweezers.
Give me the extra microscope. And he like looks and gets the tweezers, and he like tweezes like tiny little Tuck Pendleton and his like pod off. Puts it back into the thing, and they have all the microchips, and then they re-enlarge him just about as he's gasping for air once he gets out, but he's alive.
Yep.
So
They saved the day.
saved the day.
And then finally, Jack and Tuck meet, and then Lydia and Tuck rekindle their romance, and they end up getting married. And then the last scene, we see the little miniature people are in the trunk in a suitcase, and they're on a quest to get that chip again.
Yeah, because they just
it
never
never
want to
dies.
just be re-enlarged.
Oh,
Like,
right. Why don't they
they're
just
doing
like
it.
ask for it?
Well, they broke a lot of laws. Because now Tuck has him as his cufflinks for his wedding.
Yeah.
Remember, he had them.
So now they're
made to
following him.
cufflinks.
So then the movie ends with that kind of like hanging in the air.
Yeah,
The
and
suspense.
then-
Will
and,
there be a
like,
sequel?
And Jack is the one who like discovers it, and so he like jumps in the car and is like, "I'm out to save you." So it's supposed to be like this guy who started out as like this massive hypochondriac, right? Like goes through this journey, and like he's suddenly cured because like having these experiences, kind of like getting him out of that bubble. And
Yeah,
having this friendship between the Tuck Pendletons, or like
And he
Daredevil
had like
guy.
this. You had the sense that Tuck was able to make certain changes happen in Jack's body that allowed him to be kind of superhuman, or more superhuman than
But he really didn't,
really
because
wasn't.
it was
Right,
mostly
but that was
his
the
pep
thing.
talk.
I mean, there was the pep talk, but then he also does shoot him with adrenaline at some
But that was
point.
just that one time.
Yeah, but he thought, and then when Jack and Lydia kiss, and then Tuck goes into Lydia's body, Jack still thinks he's in his body. So he's like, give me the adrenaline.
Right.
He thinks that he got it because he's so hyped up, but he can still do all that stuff without that. So
Exactly.
it gives him this new sense of confidence and purpose, and it's really very special. It's very special. It's a great character journey, character arc, if you will. But yeah, that's the flick. It's pretty complicated. We missed a couple of subplots, but that's okay. We'll talk about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the flick. What do you remember most about this movie when you saw it when you were little?
So I remember the Sam Cooke songs, like I said. I remember the wrote this down. The shrinking part, when the people get shrunk. I thought that was like the funniest thing, when they're like the little people and they're attacking them in the car. I thought that was like so funny. I remember like all the body stuff. That was like so crazy, and I think that part is actually really well done. Actually, I think it won like an Oscar for visual effects.
Yep, it
So
did.
the body stuff is really cool.
It's
They
cool.
do
It's
such a good-
super gross.
It's really gross, but
I wrote down that it's like actually very gory. Like the part where like because he's always like latching his little like
Yes.
hooks into shit, and it like goes in. There's this one part where it goes in like the heart muscle or something.
and he's
or, like,
dragging with the
skin.
slime
Yes,
stuff.
and it's like pulling.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's
Well,
so
my
gross.
big
I hate
question
that.
for that stuff is that like I'm pretty sure like you can't just like slice little holes in people's veins and wherever he is and like go through them like ooh like shortcut. Like that didn't affect him at all.
Well,
I
maybe
know
the
he-
idea was that
like,
it was like so
tiny?
microscopic
Yeah.
that it didn't matter.
That's what I thought. Like, I was watching this with my mom's husband, who's like a biologist, and we were just both like, what? Like, no fucking
Well,
way.
that just couldn't happen.
Because I
Yeah.
feel like he was in like major pathways.
I mean,
of,
that's a
like-
lot of this. And I was reading the like the goofs part of IMDb, which has a lot of like scientific errors or whatever. And it's like, you could never actually miniaturize somebody and put them in a rabbit because they would still weigh the same amount. They would just be
What?
smaller. So if you put that in a person, it would just like kill them
Oh
immediately.
my God.
I read, so that was fascinating. But yeah, the body stuff's super gross, but super cool.
Yeah.
Really well done. I remember when I was little, I thought there was a lot more body stuff. It's actually not that big a part of the. I mean, it is, but for the most part, it's like the real world stuff that's happening against the backdrop of like him in the body.
Yeah.
And then I remembered Mr. Igoe dying in the stomach
Yep,
acid, which
me
is very
too.
traumatic.
Really traumatic. That guy is so creepy. I remember
And then
like
I just remember the end scene with the sneeze, and that's all I
yeah.
remembered.
I remember the grocery store stuff, like all the Safeway
Oh,
stuff.
right,
I thought
right.
that was funny. Like Martin Short being kind of kooky. Yeah, like I remember like all that. I just thought it was like a really silly movie. I thought it was really interesting and like obviously the science element and then like the funny kind of goofing off element of it. And then yeah, so but now on this rewatch, like I said, it like seems really random. Like just like the scenes don't get explained. Like obviously that part in the beginning, like they don't explain a ton about Mr. Scrimshaw's
Scrimshaw.
and that like competing company. There's like no backstory. Then you can't like.
But
you're kind of,
Ozzy
left-
knows her, so she
Right.
must have used to work there or something.
or maybe
and-
as an old flame or something. I don't know.
maybe I
But
don't know.
you're
She has
just
sex
kinda
with
like-
everyone, so it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, you're just kind of like left to your own devices a lot in terms of like what is going on. I don't
Yeah.
know, and it moves.
I feel like they
so
must have-
fast. It's very fast.
I feel like they must have cut some things out, which is surprising because this movie is super long. It's 2 hours, which I feel like
I don't
is
think they cut
really
anything
long.
out. I read that in the trivia. That was like a thing. The guy like couldn't find
Oh
any
yeah,
scenes. he
figure out
wanted
how to do it.
Yeah, he just like
Well,
loved
and
every
I mean,
part of
stuff
it.
like this gets hard when you have to like explain things like that.
Right.
You know, it gets super dumb because people are like, "Well, now we're gonna do a bunch of dialogue about some boring science shit that
Yeah.
no one cares about."
And I don't think that part like, and they do like touch a little bit because the way that they like walk you through the miniaturization thing is like Ozzy is like being filmed for like to have like record of this, right? So he's kind of explaining how they're gonna do it and stuff like that. But still like doesn't like make any sense at all. It's just like he spins around super fast and like basically you know what it looked like? It looked like the Willy Wonka scene where like Mike TV gets like moved through like into the TV because he turns into like a billion little particles and gets put
Yeah.
back together again. And that's
That's true.
basically what it was. And I'm like, does that work?
No, and that was the other thing in
common
IMDb.
thing?
It said like if you did that, you would die. You'd like die first before being able to be like reassembled small. So,
Yeah.
oh well. So this movie reminds me. I mean, there's several pop culture things that have done similar things to this, where they have shrunk a human down, and put them in somebody's body, and they go and do it. So the 4 that I remember vividly are, and three of these are TV show episodes, and the last one is an amusement park ride. But so Muppet Babies. There's one where I forget whose body they're in, but they're like basically in a body, and I just remember the white blood cells are like these little like soldiers, and they're like doo 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 doo. I just remember that. Rugrats, everyone's favorite episode, where Chucky swallows a watermelon seed, and Angelica convinces him that it's going to explode in his stomach when it grows. And so they have to shrink down. They imagine they're shrunk down and go in his body. And then the Magic School Bus. There's an episode where what's that redhead kid's name? Fred Arnold
Yeah.
eats like his skin is turning orange, And they're like, let's find out why. So they go in his body to figure it out.
Wasn't that
And
like
then-
the main story of the Magic School Bus though? Is that they like went into a body?
No, it was different every time.
It
It was like a
was?
science. Yeah.
I
it
had,
was
well,
like-
I had the book. I had a book that was just
okay,
the body
maybe
one.
that's
Yeah.
why. No, yeah, the TV show was like a different science experiment every time. They went in like a flower or inside like an ice molecule,
Right.
so to speak. Anyway, and then the last one is Body Wars, which is a ride in Epcot,
Yes.
which I always thought was based on this movie
Right.
because there's a lot of very similar things in it. And then, but I read up on it, and I don't think that's the case. Body Wars came out in like '89 or something in Epcot, and it was a little different. And that was one of those motion rides like Star Tours is. So it was very like. But I remember we went on it, and I thought it was Innerspace. Like I
Yeah.
thought it was like a play on Innerspace.
Right.
So
well, it's
that's
such
what I
an
remember.
interesting concept because I mean that idea of inner space, right? Like we know what outer space is, like stuff outside of us, but the body is such like a complicated thing. So it makes sense that like that's like another frontier that like no one really knows about. I mean, we do as medicine obviously has improved, but it's still like what do we look like from the inside? Like and this I think does a good job of like imagining like what that would be. I guess like and it's I don't know how they did all that visual stuff, but like kudos because I believed it.
Small. With miniaturizations of things.
Well, what like they said like the cells outside of his cabin or whatever when he or, like little
Or
ship.
Jell-O.
Yeah, or Jell-O. Like ooh,
That's fun. That's a fun job to like experiment with different things
Oh yeah.
that look to make them look like something. It's cool. It's cool. So let's see here. What would be your favorite scene, you think?
I'm just looking at my notes real quick. So I love that shrinking scene as a kid. I think that was so funny. I love when they go to the club with the cowboy. Again, like those 80s clubs.
Yes.
So fun. Everyone like so dressed up and everyone's just like dancing and like just having like the coolest time. I thought that one was so fun. And I love some of the supermarket scenes. Like I love the bad dreams scene with Jack.
Yeah.
So he like goes to his doctor and he's like, oh, you're having those dreams again? He's like, yeah, I have the same reoccurring one. And it's like this woman is in line and he's ringing her up. He's a cashier at a Safeway. And all these crazy prices are going through. He's like ringing up. So he's like shampoo, like $15,000. Like bottle of aspirin, like $800. Like this other, like, a loaf of bread, like $100,000. So the grand total is like $150,000. And the woman goes like, well, I don't carry that kind of cash with me, sweetie. He's like, would you take this instead? And like pulls out this like tiny little gun from her purse and then pretends to shoot him and then he like wakes up. So this actually happens for real. So he goes to work one day he gets to work after he got shot and with the syringe that has Tuck Pendleton in it. So Tuck Pendleton like uses some electric stuff that makes the register spaz out like that. So that's why it does that. So it's the same lady in line. He's checking things through.
What are the odds?
Yeah, and all the things, it's like all these crazy prices. And he's like, Jack, what did you do? And like Jack starts flipping out because he's like, oh my God, my like reoccurring nightmare is like happening. And he's like, give me some aspirin. Give me some aspirin. And like luckily the woman had bought aspirin. And like he just like chugs it. And his like little manager
Chews it. He's like chewing the aspirin.
And the little manager's like, Jack, calm down. You're becoming unhinged. Oh my God, I love
It
that
is
scene.
Yeah, that's
so
a really
much.
good scene.
It cracks me up. I was
And
watching
then
with
the
Mom,
little gun
and she
turns
was
out to just
dying.
be a lighter.
Yeah.
But is he psychic? Like, what's going on with that? Like, how did he know?
I'm telling you, I have dreams all the time that I eventually like. They're nothing crazy, but it's just like kind of regular moments that I dream about that end up happening. Nah.
Yeah, because they're like mundane enough that like they could happen. But this is like a pretty significant, like tiny gun thing. I don't know.
It was like a freak
Well,
thing.
Too weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
So what about
I like the part where Jack and Tuck really start bonding, and Tuck makes him drink alcohol because he can't have a drink unless Jack has a drink. So what he does to like catch the alcohol is he makes Jack take like a giant swig of Southern Comfort, and then he holds out this little like tiny flask in his little like pod thing outside and like collects the swallowed Southern Comfort, which is kind of gross.
It is gross.
And then like puts it in the flask and then like drinks that. And then they have this like fun drunken dance party to twist in the night away. And Martin Short gets like so crazy. And just like so eccentric and just like twisting the night away, and he's like dancing.
Like if you ever like want to pick me up, like watch that scene. It is so
it's good,
funny and sweet. And like this is a guy who like doesn't really have any friends, like never goes out, is just
never
like,
drinks, never has fun.
Yeah, by this like hypochondria and extreme anxiety, and he's just like it's just a whole ball of nerves. And he just like really lets go, and it's so cute.
Yeah, it's very cute. And I also love the part at the end where they're like, they only have like a few like minutes to get this other chip in the thing, and they have to like wait for that stupid robot arm to like get the chip and put it in the thing, but it's so slow. And the guy's like super impatient. He's like, we don't have time for this, and he like rips it out and puts it in, and it like shocks him, and he goes, oh, yes, thanks for letting me know. Or something.
Well,
Thanks
I
for
find
warning
that
me.
so funny. That's like I feel like such an 80s like over technology thing that they're like, okay, like to make this look like super professional and techie and like it's like way ahead of its time, we're gonna have it be like robot arms. Like remember like robots were like a huge deal. Robots are like still like a big deal, I guess, but like not as big I think as like we thought they were gonna be. I don't know. I just thought that was just a real example of like 80s technology, because like, you know, like all those 80s movies where it was like robot based, like Short Circuit and like RoboCop and like what's Cocoon? No, that's like the old people and the aliens, right? It's different. But I just feel like there was just like I don't know, that just like when like computers started becoming like very brand new, yeah, and they're like, okay, like let's really like wow everybody with these like sweet robots. Yeah. But I think that part's pretty
cool, guys. Yeah,
because it is dumb. Because you're like, okay, this takes 1,000 years for this fucking, and like, why does that little tiny arm have to like put it in that? Like, no point to that. And also, like, why do those little what are basically like little like not screws, but what's like the thing that you use a wrench for? A bolt, a nut, or a bolt?
What are we talking about? The
chips, yeah.
The chip.
They're like little. Chip. Okay. Well, anyway.
But they look like.
How does that
bolts.
have all the technology to like shrink people, right?
I don't know. It's kind of like a magic wand moment where it's kind of like, we don't really care about that. It does hurt my head though when you think about it. Same thing with the face reconstruction thing. I'm just like, how would electro like impulse? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And then also, so I love the what's that called? The paradox of like, so Jack is talking to Tuck, who is inside his body, but obviously nobody else knows this or hears that. So there's all these great scenes of Tuck talking to Jack and then Jack responding in the real world. And people are like, what is this guy's problem? So there's this great scene where Jack is at the urinal, and he is like peeing and talking to Tuck about something, and they're like, what are they talking about? They're like, you have to get it out or something.
Something about he was nervous about telling Lydia like the truth that he had been shrunk or something. And, like Jack wanted to tell him, and he's like, it's okay, it's like you just feel bad because you're small, or maybe like Tuck said that, I just feel like really insecure because I'm so small right now or something like that. And Jack's like, don't, like he's looking right down at his penis because he's at the urinal, but he's just like talking to Tuck in his head. He's like, don't feel bad, you're so small. And then this guy comes up to him and he's like, hey buddy, you can play with it, but you can't talk to it.
Don't give it a pep talk.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was really funny, but it reminds me of how, and it obviously they couldn't really anticipate this in 1987. But now with Bluetooth, I feel like this happens all the time where people are having like weird conversations, and you're always like, there's that moment where we're like, are they crazy or are they on a call? Like, you never know. It's like, it could be
I love
either.
that part too, like along the same like vein of like that sort of talking to himself and like not everyone else knowing it, is when he's in the doctor's office. Oh, this is like my favorite line. So he's in the doctor's office and the woman next to him, who's Andrea Martin, by the way. Like,
I know.
love her.
I noticed that.
And she's like, honey, are you feeling okay? And he's like, would I be in a doctor's office if I was feeling okay? I just love the way he says it.
I know, he is really great
It's
delivery.
right when Tuck is able to like, he's been talking to him like all day, and Jack's just like ignoring him. So he's like, you're gonna have to talk to me sometime, whatever. And so he finally starts talking to him, and there's these other people in the doctor's office, so they think he's talking to him, and it's this weird, almost like who's on first, like kind of moment. And then Jack like figures it out. Oh no, it's the first time he ever talks to him, because he goes, remember, he's like, I'm possessed.
Oh, yeah. I'm possessed.
And then the doctor comes in. He's like, okay, Jack, so I think we can rule out
Yeah,
demonic possession. Demons don't talk to you, they talk through you.
It's great. The doctor's such a good sport. And just like, because Jack's
But why
always
does he have
coming
to
to
come
him
to the
with
wedding?
stuff.
Okay, this is a huge question.
The doctor?
Why was everybody at that wedding?
Yeah, why was
Wendy
everyone at
was
the
at the
wedding?
wedding?
Yeah,
Jack's
why was
doctor?
Wendy at the wedding?
Was Jack able like
Weird.
to post it? Maybe Wendy was his date though. I guess that would explain that.
The doctor's date?
No.
No,
Jack's
but she
date.
but he's like, tells her like, no way.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. I just feel like that
So
was
the
one of
other-
those weird things where they just like want all the characters there at the end. But I'm like,
Yeah,
why the fuck would the
to, like,
doctor be on the date? I mean, on
to
the
tie
at
it
the
up.
wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So another thing with this is that Jack develops this crush on Lydia, and they kiss at one point, and like it's a complicated scenario here. What do you ever feel sad at the end that Lydia still ends up with Tuck Pendleton, or no?
Well, yes, because I think Tuck Pendleton is a loser. So yes, she can do better. But also there's this like very strange moment at the end where there's this look between them, between Jack and Lydia. And that does make me feel really sad.
You know what it
'Cause I feel
reminds
like they
me
had
of?
like a real understanding and like a great time, obviously, on this like little adventure. And she knows he's like a sweet, caring guy who would like never hurt anybody, and like she's just not attracted to him. I feel like she just like friend zoned him basically. Like you're sweet.
Yeah, it
you're
reminds me
great,
of-
I'm gonna go for the hot asshole. Like
It reminds me of the bullshit plot line of Love Actually, where
Right.
they have this like Keira Knightley and what's his face have this like weird pseudo romance, but not. And then they're like they go on as life continues, like still having this weird. I don't know what's happening there. But yeah, it's very odd, and I do feel sad about it. But I think that Jack, now that he has such like a excited life ahead of him,
And
I feel
confidence,
okay
right?
about it in the end.
he gets
What?
a ton of confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Totally.
And like they had, a moment. He got to kiss a pretty girl who was like, apparently like out of his league or whatever. But yeah, no, I think Lydia is really cool. I get why she broke up with Tuck. I mean, I just don't have time for those people who are like, I don't go by anyone else's rules, and like, dude, like you're in the fucking military. You can't be this maverick.
Yeah, how
Like
did
your
he make
whole
it this
life
far?
is following orders, because if you don't, like you're gonna get somebody killed.
It's true.
And that's why like he wasn't good at that job, and why he like never made it through the ranks of that, like I guess. But there's not a ton of backstory about like why Lydia and his relationship is so bad. I mean, obviously he's kind of like a drunk, so you see like that part of him. But he's a smooth operator, and they just like really have this intense connection. Mm-hmm. She does like really love him, but I think just like can't keep up with like the trouble. And I don't think he was like totally serious about her until he like had this opportunity, or maybe until he like saw that she was like knocked up with his baby.
Part is crazy.
Yeah.
So he gets transferred to Lydia
Okay, and I
via
don't get that, because it's like, where was he in the body that you get like sucked through just by kissing somebody? Wouldn't he have to be in the mouth? Is that where he always was?
Because like the pull is so like strong that you're
is
like
it?
sucking. I don't know.
Not how I kiss.
I don't think that's how kissing works, but I don't know. Maybe he was in the
how any of
mouth.
this
I don't
works.
remember. Was that before or after Mr. Igoe was in his body?
That
with him?
was
Before.
Yeah, that was before. And then Mr. Igoe gets put in there, and then Tuck gets back in there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. But yeah, he sees a baby growing, a bun in the oven. So he's like, oh, I'm in Lydia's body. So he plays Sam Cooke really loudly so that she knows.
Yeah,
She's like,
that's
it's our
cute.
song.
I know. But yeah, I just like think, and like what that name, oh my god. most like pilot name ever. Tuck Pendleton. Like, who
What about
made that up?
What's Tom Cruise's name in Top Gun? His real name?
Ooh, good trivia question.
Not Maverick. Oh. Well, I'm sure that's equally douchey yet cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty neat. I also love the moment where they meet each other at the end because they've been so connected and they don't get to see each other until the end. It reminds me of, there's another movie where that happens. Do you know? Can you think of it? Oh,
I was thinking Die
no,
Hard.
but that's another good example.
Yeah.
That's a really good example.
I know.
I was gonna go
love that moment
dumb.
at the end of Die Hard. It's so adorable.
I was gonna go really stupid and say it's like in The Holiday when Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz finally get to meet. Yeah. You're like, yay. So I like those movies where there's this like connection throughout the whole film, but then our two main characters don't end up meeting until the end. That's kind of cool.
Well, that's like the best part of the whole movie. Okay, just
know.
for the record, like Tom Cruise's name is Maverick. That's it. They only go by they only go by their pilot names.
Right.
Tim Robbins is Merlin. Totally forgot about that. Goose.
He's a wizard.
Speaking of Top Gun, like this is like right around the time that, because remember Meg Ryan is Goose's girlfriend. She's the total same look in that like weird little like blonde pixie.
Wait, who's the actor? Who's Goose?
Anthony Michael.
douche?
Oh, Anthony Edwards.
I was like, no.
Anthony
It was
Michael.
not Anthony Michael.
Anthony Edwards from ER.
Right. Okay.
That's Goose. But like I just like don't love Tuck Pendleton. I don't like. I feel like Dennis Quaid plays like a really good jerk. I just saw him in Postcards from the Edge. Did you watch that with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember he was the jerky
He was
boyfriend
in
in that?
He was?
Yes. The one who like seduces her but then has all these other girlfriends. And
Yeah.
she's like, what the fuck?
I mean, what are like his other big movies? I'm like, the only one I can think of is the remake of The Parent Trap for some reason.
Well, he's also in like a really sad one about like alcoholism with Meg Ryan. It's like really sad. And he's kind of like a jerk
Radio
in that.
Flyer? Just kidding.
No,
Is he in Radio Flyer?
No.
Remember
Apparently in the new dog movie,
the new dog?
the Dead Dog movie.
What?
He's like
What's the Dead Dog
epitome of
movie?
The Dog's
A
Purpose,
Dog's
where
Purpose?
like 25 dogs.
Fuck
die.
that. Fuck that. Like, why would you be like, here's a movie where you get to see a dog die 25 times? No, thank you.
Okay,
Ugh.
so he. What? Well, he's in. Oh, I forgot that he was. He was George W. Bush in. Oh my God, he
yeah,
is
in
going to be
W?
George. No, he's going to be George W. Bush in the American. True. What is it? The People versus OJ. It's that same thing, but when they're doing that one about Hurricane Katrina.
Oh.
And he's doing George W. Bush. That's cool.
Fascinating.
I'm trying to think of what like his old stuff was. Okay, here's like from the 2000s. Ready? The Alamo.
I remember
Frequency.
Oh yeah, he like hears his like dead dad over the like white
The Parent
noise of
Trap. Okay, he's kind of cute in that, but like still kind of jerky. The Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. That's the one that was the only
Something
one I
to
could
talk
think of.
about.
Let's
that-
give them something
That
to
might
talk
be the
about.
alcoholism one. Maybe not. Wyatt Earp. He was
Talk
Doc
about
Holliday.
alcoholism.
Postcards from the Edge. Great Balls of Fire. Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh,
You
yeah.
ever seen that? He's like the blonde wig, and
Yep.
Winona Ryder's like the child bride. Why have I like seen all these movies? It's really weird.
Remember Randy Quaid?
Yeah.
He's like total nut job right now. You know, he's fallen on rough times.
Are they related?
They're brothers.
What?
Right? Yeah, pretty sure.
Oh wow.
Read his bio. What is it?
So his famous movies are Breaking Away, and then The Right Stuff is that other one.
The Rat Stuff.
seen
These are
those,
just all
but-
great movies. Just itching for that title song to use.
Yeah, brother
For-
Randy Quaid. Okay.
Yeah. So Randy Quaid just like went totally nuts, and he and his wife are like on the lam.
Yeah. I remember seeing
They
that
owe like
stuff.
all this money, so like they're wanted by the FBI or something. They were like hiding out in Canada, but he's like convinced that there's this star conspiracy called like Star Whackers, who are responsible for like killing celebrities. So strange. He has this crazy white like mountain man beard. Like if you Google him now, you're like, who is that? It's fascinating. I remember there was this Vanity Fair article about it like years ago in like 2011 or something. So look that up, or look up a story about him, and you'll be just like down this weird rabbit hole that you can't get out of. So maybe I don't recommend it, but it's fascinating nonetheless. So that's what I associate Dennis Quaid with, unfortunately, is his weird brother.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good actor, but I just feel like he plays such like a smarmy little bastard. And as we talked about, so Martin Short in this, like, comedy, like, legend, so fucking funny. That guy is, like, his physical comedy skills are just, like, off the charts for me. Whether it's, like, just how he handles his body, which is, like, really, like, short and wiry and skinny, right? And he just has that, like, face, like, almost like a rubber face where he can, like, make all these crazy, silly faces with it. Yeah. Oh, my God. And he just, like, is always dropping things and just making I don't know. I just think he's like so brilliant. I love Martin Short so much.
He's great.
We haven't done any ones.
I know this was our first one. There were a lot of alums in this, right? Yeah. Did you wrate them down?
I really like random ones. I was like, oh my God, it's like that random dad who tries to go on the camping trip in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes, that's what I said too.
One where it's like your wife's plumbing.
Yes, he's so memorable to us. Yeah. He's in it for such a short amount of time, but we're just like, that guy. Yep. He's in a bunch of other movies too. And actually, a lot of these actors are in Gremlins 2, I was noticing. Yes. So I was like, dang, too bad we haven't done that yet. Yeah. Who else?
We haven't done any Meg Ryan, right?
Right.
Was there? I mean, that's like the only one I remember.
The woman in the dream sequence was the teacher in Hocus Pocus. I meant to write these ones down. I don't have my phone on me right now. And then there's some other ones. Maybe they're not ones that we have done. They're just people that I recognize.
Yeah, they're just
that I've had like bit parts and other things, like the doctors and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
The supermarket boss guy is a famous character actor.
Or I think he did Laugh-In too or something. Again, I was watching it with my Carol's husband, who like is like, you know, in his late 60s. So he like has all the old TV shows sort of. Remember, he's like, oh my God, it's that guy from this. It's this guy from this old movie. And I was like, what? My head was like exploding. I was like, be quiet.
Yeah, and then the bad guy, Mr. Scrimshaw, is the famous Kevin McCarthy, he was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers and a bunch of other old movies.
That's the one he said. He's like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, so he's famous. So it was funny that he was like the bad scientist guy in this.
He was funny. What was the deal with like the bad guys dressing in all white? Like, what was that?
Oh, she did too?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, and their lab was like all white, that like sterile, like white laboratory. I don't know.
He had the white dogs.
Oh yeah, that's true. What does it
just
mean?
To do the scene where they're like, this part always grossed me out when like the chip falls into the dog's dish and he has to like go through the dog food and he's like all like brown from the dog food. Remember that?
I blocked it out. But the part that I totally forgot about is and I hated it, when the little people are in the back seat of the car when like Lydia and Jack drive away, and then they like are behind there and they like cover their eyes with their little tiny hands. And oh my God, I hate their little hands so much. It's so upsetting to me because they look like little puppet hands. Ugh, I just hate unnaturally small hands like that.
Yeah. They're so
funny. It really
funny.
skeeved me out.
I love that part when they like put Jack in the freezer and he's like in there and he's like and he's like, Jack, he's like, where are you? He's like, your heart rate's like really dropping. And he's like, I'm so cold. And you like look at it and it turns and he's like completely has like icicles on his eyebrows. And he's like, Jack, what's that noise? And it's like his teeth chattering. So then like Mr. Scrimshaw comes in and they give Mr. Scrimshaw like a fur coat to like sit in there with him. And he's like telling this like crazy weird story. And it's when Tuck is like pumping up Jack and is trying to make him like, okay, he's like, look around, like see if you can like get out of this car. So I read in the trivia that they just like gave that guy like, they had to write up like super quick something to like, because you don't hear really any of his story because you're like too busy listening to the voiceover that like Tuck is doing. But it was like this most random story about him like killing a buffalo or something. And it was like, I don't know. I just find that like so funny because I remember the guy, like Tuck's listening to the guy tell the story at first and he's like, oh man, this guy, he's like, you got to get out of here. Like, I mean, he's just like some rich like lunatic, but Mr. Scrimshaw. They're like really good names in here. Speaking of, I mean, we have to devote a pretty large segment to the creepiness that is my new nightmare, aka Mr. Igoe.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so Mr. Igoe, as we said, is like this crazy weird cyborg. He's like the sketchiest face ever. He's basically like an assassin. So he starts off, he's like driving this BMW, and he like can clip off his hand and put like a regular hand to drive, or a hand that has like guns in the fingers, or in one case, a vibrator. Sketchy.
Ew.
How sketchy
Wait, what is that part for?
Remember? So
For
she's
the
like,
sexy?
yeah, when she's like, Margaret is like, the other scientist is like getting
Yeah.
champagne poured for her, and all of a sudden, and she's like, oh, I'm too busy right now, like I can't do something, like doesn't tell him like that he's with Mr. Igoe. But then all of a sudden he like puts some, you don't see it, but he puts something, because he had a corkscrew on his little fake hand, and he takes that off, and then he puts something else on, and then it goes zzz, like a vibrating noise.
Ew.
So he's gonna
Gross.
like jerk her off with that.
All right, you keep
Cyborg
telling the story.
vibrator.
I'm going to get my computer charger. Go.
Okay. What else did Mr. Igoe do? So Mr. Igoe also has a vanity license plate with the word snap on, to like, because he snaps on that hand like on and off. And then the creepiest part is when he gets put into that sketchy little pod. So he like gets injected into Jack, and instead of having a pod like Tuck has, he has this like creepy metal like scuba dive thing. He's like a suit, and then he like gets into this sketchy like scuba dive like-ish thing with like these
It looks
crazy
like-
like pliers for hands. And it's
It looks like
black
Boba Fett's ship in
yeah.
Star Wars.
I mean, that I would never want to be in a body in that. I mean, that just
I
seems
know,
like
it
a really
looks
bad
very
idea.
claustrophobic.
I mean,
How'd
the
you
guy
get
was
out?
like not human. And then he has to eject out of that because it
Yeah.
like malfunctions, and it's just like his body in the body. I mean, he has like oxygen, so I guess like he's okay, but
It's
like
just
that guy was a nut job.
doesn't seem
And it's
right.
so gross when he gets like
the stomach acid.
digested basically by the stomach acid. So that part's pretty clever. So
I
like,
hate that part.
as much of a jerk Tuck is, he's pretty smart. So he like figures out how like to kill Mr. Igoe, because Mr. Igoe is like drilling into his oxygen tanks, like drilling into the glass of the thing. I mean, the guy is like ruthless. And he is able to like get Jack really upset, so his stomach acids act up, and then like plunges Mr. Igoe into them. And it's just this like gross skeleton with like random pieces of skin hanging on it.
Oh yeah, the random pieces of skin part is really what keeps me out the most.
And then when he burps,
yeah, I
he's
just-
like, sorry, Jack.
Oh yeah,
You just digested the bad guy.
yeah,
And he's like,
silly.
but yeah, the Mr. I don't even know what the deal is with Mr. Igoe, and like, why is his name Mr. Igoe?
I'm sure it means something. That, I don't know, but yeah, I just didn't. He's weird. Also, the cowboy, very weird character.
Such a weird character.
I just don't like his hair. It's like fuzzy.
Weird accent.
Weird accent. Cowboy. He's like only likes material objects. Like he's not really a cowboy.
Right.
He says it in like his weird song when he's like in the mirror, like doing things. But I just like don't get that character at all.
Make him be a cowboy. It is like super random. And he's like drying off his boots with a hairdryer. I guess maybe because he had just shined them or something.
Oh. So, but there wasn't a sequel, right? Like they never made a sequel. But I'm sure they were intending one to happen with that
I don't
ending.
know. I think it was like a fake, like
A
one
fake
to the
out.
sequel.
Okay.
You know.
Well,
But yeah, the
Good.
cowboy always like really creeped me out too. And then when she used to like flirt with him and dance with him, I'm like, ugh.
ugh. Yeah. Totes gross. Yeah. Totally. I also love Wendy, the like ditzy checkout girl who is like, I've slept with every guy like in this store, but you're the only one I'm like attracted to. Just talking to Jack, and I'm like, what?
Which means she totally slept with Mr.
The
Wormwood.
boss, yeah.
Another
But I love
good
that
name.
part where she's like packing the groceries and she like has no idea what she's doing, and she puts like the bread, she puts eggs, and then puts like this giant box on top of it, so all the eggs
it's a
smash.
giant like glass jug of apple juice or something. And she's just like, and she's like kind of like getting frustrated with him. She's like, Wendy, we were supposed to have a date last night. She's like, I'm sorry, Jack. Like, I can't be exclusive right now or something like that. And she's getting like frustrated. She's also a crazy chain smoker.
Oh yeah,
Oh my god, I love Wendy. She's so funny.
she's great. She's great.
Yeah.
Love her. Anything else you wanted to bring up?
Just again, like, still, like, R.I.P. Ozzy. Miss you. Long time.
Yeah, he really didn't need to die. Could have just been like, "Give me the syringe."
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't kill anyone else, so I just don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, and, like, I don't know. Maybe they just need to, like, sacrifice. It just made it seem, like, really important or something like that. That if, like, a person
and 'cause he
died
was the
for
one
the
that
cause of it. Because he, like, was trying to save... Because, like, okay, what would have happened if they had gotten hold of that syringe? Like, what was the... Right? Like, what were they going to do? Just, I guess,
Well,
like,
they
put
had
Mr.
the other
Igoe
chip,
in...
so they could, like... They just wanted to get that chip.
But, like, were they going to enlarge him and then
No, I
get
guess
the
not.
chip? Like, what were they going to do with him? That's why I was like, why is this so dire? Like, why does he have to get rid of this? Oh, well, you know what? I think it did, too, because he didn't want Tuck to die. Like, who knew, like, if
Right,
what was
I
going to
think he
happen in
was-
that syringe if he dropped it, or the safest place for
He
it
was
to go
mainly
was in a
saving
body.
Tuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was in a body. Like, screw the experiment. He's like, there's a live guy in here. Like, I need to put it where it was intended to, because that will at least function as, like, we needed it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, again, crazy technology. It just, it was preparing for a rabbit body, but was still able to recognize all these things, like, in the human body, so...
And that was
don't
weird.
know.
I was like, oh my God, the technology is that good that it would, like, reconfigure its whole computer machine to know where all the human body stuff was. I mean, a rabbit is, like, much different than a human body.
Yeah, but it still has, like, eye sockets and a heart.
I know, but it's like
And
full
lungs and
legs
stuff.
And like
Because it was like mammal to mammal, it probably wasn't that big of a deal. But if it was like a frog into a human, maybe that would be different. I don't know. Again, a lot of magic wand waving here. It's not like totally science based. But yeah, good stuff.
Would you want to be shrunk and put into
stuff.
a
Oh my
body?
God, no, not at all. It was giving me such anxiety when I was thinking about it. Like, I don't even like to be enclosed in like a small, like a room somewhere that I can't like easily leave out of.
Yeah.
And like, what if something was wrong and you're like, I'm stuck in this body and I can't just get out whenever I want. I'm also in this cramped little tiny pod. No thanks. It's just not
How
fun
much they
for me.
paid him? And like then the experiment just like was done
Yeah,
after this?
I don't know.
Because he gets to keep the little cufflinks.
True. And he's just like, well,
The chips
that was
and
fun.
things yeah. Like,
Guess we won't do that
wow.
again.
Yeah.
I still
like,
don't understand the main benefit of it. So, but whatever.
I mean,
Just
I'm imagining that they eventually wanted, like, to use it, like I said, to, like, you know how technology now that they can, like, repair things with, because they have this, like, microscopic technology, so you're able to make these, like, tiny little incisions, and surgery's just so much safer and easier now. But what if you could do surgery from, like, the inside, so you could have, like, a doctor in a little pod, I guess, like, essentially, like, repairing, you know, or checking out to make sure stuff, or, like, you know, if, like, you have a tumor or something, I don't know.
It's
I'm
not
just
a
thinking
tumor.
something like that. But then you're having doctors like being shrunk and putting into pods. I don't know. That's like that seems like good accident
it's a
waiting.
lot. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem worth it. Just develop a fucking camera, which is what they do,
Yeah.
and then it's all
I feel
fine.
like medical technology is like it's pretty.
Yeah,
a good
it's really
place right
moved.
now. Yeah,
It's really gone forward
yeah.
quite a lot.
But yeah, and then I'll just like lastly just again plug my guy Sam Cooke. So good.
So good.
You don't know about him, definitely download some songs. So the two in this one, okay, well, first one, so Cupid is a really famous one. This is the Cupid, Draw Back Your Bow. It's like the Tuck, Lydia, like their song. And then Twisted the Night Away is the one where Jack dances like a lunatic. And that's a really famous song. And I just want to say that the line that like I always messed up with this one was, so there's this line called, so the song's like, twisting the night away, twisting, twisting, everybody's feeling great. We're twisting, twisting, yeah, twisting the night away. So he like talks about these basically like what's going on in the club. And there's this line that goes, he's dancing with the checkered slacks. She's a moving up in her back, oh, there ain't nothing like twisting the night away. I always thought it was, he's dancing with the chicken slacks.
I remember you told me that, and now I can like never unhear that part.
And there's a band in Boston called the Chicken Slacks. I'm pretty sure who also thought it was She's Dancing with the Chicken Slacks.
Did you
And
look
they
it
named their
up?
band that. Yeah, I
Did
did.
you look it
They
up to
did.
verify that it was Checkered Slacks? Okay.
No, that is definitely the line.
All right. I mean, I guess it makes sense. And
What's a
chicken
chicken
slacks
slack?
doesn't.
But it sounds
I don't know.
so much like Chicken Slack. Anyway, but
Could be like
Sam
a dance
Cooke,
you do, like
yeah,
chicken
amazing. Died very tragically. I believe he was like shot in a hotel. Apparently,
What? Like Martin
well,
Luther King?
well,
I thought it was.
he had,
I thought it was another plane crash.
No, he had like a
No,
really
he
bad
like
drinking
drowned.
problem.
Didn't he drown? We looked it up.
No, he had like a really bad drinking problem, and they think he like tried to like rape someone or something.
What?
And so he like
No.
someone shot him. Yeah. I'm looking at it right now.
Sam Cooke dies under
Gunshot wound.
suspicious
It was
circumstances.
really suspicious. Yeah, so like
at the
nobody
motel.
knew what happened.
Oh, weird. All right. Well, I'll read about that later.
64. So yeah, like super, super tragic, but he was like amazing. He started out this gospel singer and like, because that's how like a lot of black people really got into music and that's how they could tour and stuff. And then he like went solo. His first group was called Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrers. Good name. And then there's this kind of is there a documentary? I forget. Anyway, I just find him fascinating. I think he is like one of the best voices out there. It's just like awesome. And one of my favorite songs in Adventures in Babysitting. Also Sam Cooke.
Right.
Bring It On Home to Me.
Yep.
Awesome.
Classic.
So yeah, check him out. You know,
Check him out.
discover some new music. You're welcome.
But yeah, I guess that's it. That was Innerspace.
Jackie Wilson died of pneumonia. Sad.
Okay. All these sad deaths.
Well,
That's
then it's like
just-
Marvin Gaye gunshot wound. Remember his like dad shot him. So
What?
sad.
No. Oh my god. I think Otis Redding is the one that died and drowned. Maybe that's the one I was thinking of.
Ham sandwich.
Just meanwhile, we're like, let's look up all our favorite singers and what they died of.
Well, this was
all right.
fun. It was not as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, not too bad. It's like you're here. It's like I can see you. I know you so well that I know what you're doing
Oh my god.
as you're talking.
Well, I don't want this to be like a thing. But
Of course not.
it's handy in
Yes,
case we can't
in a
be
pinch.
together. Yeah.
But-
Actually, I mean, the thing was, I didn't love like watching a movie by myself. I think you
Yes,
did
that was
too.
very sad.
Yeah, we couldn't. We always have like a fun little dinner,
No one to laugh with
drink our little
about
limoncello.
stuff.
So I was really sad.
Yeah.
But I'll be back in Boston tomorrow.
Yay. Yep. So, like I said at the beginning, head on over to the Damage Control podcast and listen to their episode on this same movie and compare notes. It should be really fun and check them out. They're awesome. Thank you as always for listening. You can find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club and on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you guys for listening. Catch you next time. Bye.
And there came a day unlike any other when Earth's mightiest podcast hosts were united against a common threat. On that day, the Damage Control podcast was born to review the movies no single podcast host could withstand.
John, what the hell are you doing with your voice?
I just figured this was kind of like our big shot, and we should lead with something big, something memorable, you know?
Right. How about we skip the fanfare and just tell the nice people about the podcast?
Fine. Hey everybody, I'm John.
And I'm Ryan, and we host the Damage Control podcast.
We both fly the geek flag proudly, but for different reasons. For example, I read comic books,
And I went to film school.
which makes us the perfect duo to review the latest superhero movie,
Or sci-fi blockbuster.
or nerdy Netflix show.
Or the occasional hoity-toity art house flick. John, I'm not very comfortable with that line.
Our podcast is named after an obscure engineering company from inside the pages of Marvel Comics. Their job was to deal with the aftermath of superhero conflict, and in a weird way, that's kind of what we do too.
That's right. We swoop in after the credits roll and do our best to pick up the pieces. We release new episodes every week to 2 weeks and mostly stick to what we like to call geek media.
And in most episodes, we'll run down all the news and notes from the Geek Media universe to make sure you're caught up on all the happenings within the MCU, the DCEU, and all the other U's out there.
And we'll tell you about what else we're watching in a notoriously hyper-verbal segment we call the Damage Control Roundup.
And we'll work in the occasional goofy bit like the Top 5 Showdown and Was It Better Than Thor?
So if you like movies, comic books, movies based on comic books, or yes, even the occasional hoity-toity art house flick, check us out.
And if you enjoyed this episode of Large Mars Sent Us, and let's be real here, why wouldn't you? You'll be pleased to know that we also reviewed the 80s classic action comedy Innerspace in honor of its 30th anniversary.
So have a listen to our review of Innerspace, check out our previous episodes, and stay tuned for our upcoming reviews of Spider-Man Homecoming, War for the Planet of the Apes, and so much more.
After the earth-shattering conclusion, once justice is served...
John, seriously, cut it out.
Game over, man. It's game over.